making their way to the microphone. It's Daniel Cormier and Ariel Helwani.
Back in your life on this fourth week of March 2021. Hello again, everyone. Welcome back to a brand new edition of DC and Helwani. Of course, that's the birthday boy, DC, Daniel Cormier. And I am Helwani, Ariel Helwani. A day late, actually 2 days late at this point, DC. Happy birthday to you. The big 4-2, yes? The big 4-2. How was it?
42 years old. Today is actually my cousin Terry's birthday. He's two days after me, 42 years old, same thing. Grew up together. But yeah, man, it was great. I did exactly what I do every single year for my birthday. It's the weekend of the NCAA wrestling tournament. So I just sit on the couch from Thursday until Saturday watching wrestling. Had some friends over. We watched wrestling and watched fights, and it was good. And listen, hey, man, wrestling, I feel, has changed so much because before I used to have to stay up to the middle of the night to watch wrestling in the Olympics. But now, you know, ESPN, not because I work here, not because I work here, but the reality is ESPN now provides on the app and on the networks. I watch every single match. So now I'm just in wrestling heaven, and I would like to say, as a birthday gift, thank you, ESPN, for all my wrestling covers. I mean, not because I work here or anything, it's just the truth.
I mean, come on, corporate DC in full effect in the first 2 minutes of the program. So, of course, I do want to wish you once again a happy birthday. Hope it was great. Hope you have a great year. And wouldn't you know it, it was exactly 1 year ago this week, my friend, that this show was born in this particular format, in the midst of all the uncertainty, in the midst of all the anxiety. At the very beginning of all of this, we did this program. It looked a little different, but it's crazy to think it's been a year. And in fact, a very big part of the show, our good friend Robert, aka Roberts Pearson, has actually sent us a big package, a gift.
Yeah,
this guy
in my box right here.
Yes, he's such a mensch. He sent us a gift. He sent us a package and a video, and we have both not opened it. I hope you didn't open it.
I didn't open it. I promise. I didn't open it.
We promised him we will open it at the very end of the program together and find out what is in this very large box.
He's done a fantastic job, right? Because it started as a guy, Robert just drew the picture. Mm-hmm. And we're like, oh, that's pretty cool. So then he continued to draw the picture every week, the cartoon. And then he starts drawing it as our show in August. We redid the show and everything. And he's become an integral part of what we do at DC and Helwani. And honestly, Ariel, this show, it was so silly at times. Like, remember how silly it would get at times whenever there were no fights and there were no sports to discuss. So we just kind of talked about things that was happening in the news. And man, I can't believe it. I was watching a clip the other day from the fake Helwani. How did I not know that? Like, how did I not pay attention?
Those were great memories. Those were really great memories. And so hopefully we'll get to do it for many, many more years to come. I look forward to the gift. I look forward to opening this later in the program. Of course, there's so much going on in the world of MMA, so we don't have time to talk about any other special days, holidays. I won't bring up the fact that
holidays today.
No, I can't. No time. Birthday, anniversary. Won't bring up the fact that it's National Bavarian Crepe Day, or I mean, DC National West Virginia Day. I mean,
come on.
Who did the Qs beat yesterday? West Virginia. I mean, I'm not even gonna bring it up. I'm not bringing it up. It's your birthday. It's your special day.
You gotta stay focused for once. Once.
To that point, it's National Goof Off Day, but I'm not going to bring that up because we need to stay focused, and we need to talk about a guy who some might say is a bit of a goof off in his own right, Mr. Kevin Holland, right? Okay, so let's start with Saturday night. Let's start with what transpired at the Apex. Kevin Holland, Derek Brunson. This was billed in many respects as, the breakout show for Kevin Holland, right? The coming out party. The man won 5 fights in 7 months. In 2020, back end of 2020, was on the short list for 2020 Male Fighter of the Year. Here he is taking a step up in competition against Derek Brunson, a guy who, by the way, he called out, and quite frankly, it was never really close. Derek Brunson dominated that fight from start to finish, in large part due to the wrestling. And so let me ask you this, DC, because the big talking point after this fight was, Kevin Holland was a goof off. He didn't take it seriously. He talked too much. He got exposed, all that stuff and more. Here's the big question from me to you at the very beginning of this fight. Of this conversation about this fight, which of course Brunson won by unanimous decision. Does that fight go any differently in your opinion if Holland doesn't say a word, if he doesn't act the fool, if he doesn't talk smack, if he doesn't do all the other hijinks? Do you think that fight goes any differently whatsoever? Because as you know, people are blaming him for that.
What a question. I mean, that's a great question. And I never thought about that. Ariel, I can say I don't think so. Because he would have just been quietly getting taken down, right? Don't you think? I mean, he hasn't shown that ability yet, right, to defend those takedowns at that level. It's not like he was talking in the middle of getting taken down. He was trying to defend. He just doesn't have the knowledge of takedown defense that allowed him to stay up. So I don't think it made that much of a difference. I don't think if he was quiet, it would have made much of a difference. And honestly, Ariel, I know Kevin Holland now. We built a relationship. He was supposed to come out and train before the fight. They had the snowstorm in Texas. He ended up driving out to Vegas for a little bit, worked out there, never made it up to San Jose. So we talked. After the fight, I'm in the bed, and I just text him, Kevin. He immediately writes back, I'm sorry. Immediately. He just writes back, I'm sorry. And I was like, don't apologize. I go, don't apologize. I said, it's what you do with what happens next. I said, now you have to improve. I go, take some time with your family and then find a way to improve and get better in the area that has proven to be an issue for you. He goes, absolutely. I go, he said, I feel like I let a lot of people down. I go, you didn't. I said, what you have to do now is continue to be a role model for the kids that are watching you and want to be like you. So just fix it. That's it. That's all I told him. Just fix it. And so he said, you know what? You're right. I'm going to get some time with my family, take a little bit of time, and I'll be up in San Jose very shortly. So he has the right attitude. But back to your question, no, it would not have been different because he doesn't really understand takedown defense at a level that would allow him to stop a guy like Derek Brunson, who is just a fantastic wrestler and a longtime veteran.
Okay, so then let me ask you this. And by the way, that vibes was something that he told me after the fight because I reached out to him to do an interview with him, which I'll do later today. And I said, I'm sorry, it went down that way. He said, don't be sorry. I'm just mad that I let everyone down. And so it's clear that he's hurting from this, but maybe not for the same reasons that people may think. So let me ask you this. Can Kevin Holland realize his potential? Can he be a future contender / champion as the same guy, or does he need to cut all that out in order to realize that potential?
No, part of the reason Kevin Holland is viewed in the way that he is because of that, right? Initially, he drove Dana crazy with being a big mouth. But then by the end of it, Dana was almost like into it, right? Mm-hmm. He was entertained by Kevin Holland. That's why you saw Kevin Holland in a main event. But obviously, he won 5 fights in a row too, honestly. But there's so much to Kevin. So I believe that part of his personality has to continue and stay that way because it's funny. And you know what? It allows him to be so loose. I watch the best fighters in the world champions, look so nervous when they step into the octagon. Kevin Holland is the most loose person I've ever seen going into a fight. And he has to keep that. But I'm telling you, it just boils down to him defending takedowns. And once he can do that, he will really put himself right back where he just was. And hey, there's no shame in losing to Derek Brunson. Derek Brunson is a stud. And this is the crazy thing about this fight. And Kevin Holland winning all those fights in a row, talking in the way that he does, being entertaining, you forget about Derek Brunson a little bit.
Yes.
Because Derek Brunson is the lunch pail, blue-collar guy that goes to work, gets the job done. So when Kevin wins, he's the talk of the town because of how he acts. Kevin lost. He's still the talk of the town, right? And he lost. But what about the guy that won the fight that doesn't say anything? So there's something to his personality that draws people in, and I believe Kevin needs to continue to be that way, but learn to wrestle.
So for whatever it's worth, I agree with everything you said. That fight goes no differently if he talks or doesn't talk. I think the fact that we are focusing on Kevin in the aftermath speaks to the kind of personality he is and potential star he can be. It's also incredibly disrespectful to Derek Brunson, who has now won 4 in a row, who continues to be put in this spot to, kind of
Elevate
build
these
future
kids.
stars, off of his back. Just happened with Edmund Shabazian, won via TKO in that fight, third round. This time he derails the hype train that is Kevin Holland. DC, I noted this on Saturday night. We're now exactly this month, 10-year anniversary of Zuffa buying Strikeforce. You can make a very strong case that Derek Brunson is one of the final fighters who came over from that deal, who is still thriving in the UFC. He's on a winning streak. There's names like Masvidal left, Woodley's on the losing streak, Robbie Lawler's kind of, teetering towards the end. There aren't that many names left. Derek Brunson, you can make a case, along with Masvidal, probably the most successful of the ones left. Overeem's gone. We'll see what happens with Rockhold. That's a testament to this man who stumbled a couple times throughout his UFC career, and we don't talk about him as enough. To your point, not flashy, doesn't talk trash, doesn't have, the crazy stuff. But ever since he went to South Florida and started working with those guys over at Stanford MMA, Henry Hoofton Company, he's turned into a viable threat at 185 pounds. So I don't like the fact that we're focusing on what Holland did or didn't do, because guess what? This fight goes the exact same way if Holland keeps his mouth closed the entire fight. That wasn't the problem here. The problem was Derek Brunson and his wrestling.
Derek Brunson's wrestling was just too much for him. And honestly, it's going to take some time for Kevin to develop the skills to defend those. And honestly, we have already tried to address what he wants to do. Let's hope that he follows through on that and we can help, because not only did I say it, all the guys on the team are like, yes, we can help this kid learn in that area. Because again, you have to be around great wrestlers that are going to take you down 100 times for you to get up 101 times. And then eventually it'll be 100 attempts without you getting taken down. And that's what Kevin Holland needs to beat a guy like Derek Brunson. But Derek Brunson is no easy out. So it's a credit to the athletes that he's fought that have defeated him and gone on to become champion, right? Because he was in this spot with Robert Whittaker. Got beat, Robert Whittaker became the champ. He was in the spot with Israel Adesanya. Israel beat him, Israel became the champion. So it's a difference in if you can get past Derek opposed to fighting Derek Brunson, because Derek's no easy out for anyone. And I believe him calling out Paulo Costa is another opportunity for him to get a fight that he feels he can win and once again put himself closer to fighting for a championship. And you're absolutely right. They've outlasted every one of us. Masvidal, Brunson, Luke, if he comes back, everybody else is gone, bro. The old guard's done, right? Like Melendez, myself, Josh Thompson, all the guys that came over, Ronda Rousey, everybody that came over, Overeem, Cyborg, like everybody's gone. Everybody's done with MMA at the highest level. Maybe not Cyborg because she's the champ over in Bellator, but we're all done. And
Anthony Smith, another name who's still doing a little bit.
Anthony Smith doing well, but he's not doing what Derek's doing.
No.
He's not doing what Brunson's doing. The only one on the level of Brunson right now is Masvidal.
Right.
Because Masvidal's such a massive star.
Now, did you feel at all guilty? Did you feel like you sort of abandoned young Kevin Holland? I mean, there he is saying, usually I ask DC for advice in between rounds. Where are you at? So he had to go to Khabib, who's sitting there. By the way, Khabib streaming the fight on his phone next to Dana. I mean, you talk about a boss, this guy. And of course, we'll get to Khabib later on. He is literally streaming the fight on his Instagram. I don't know for who. Right next to Dana. I mean, man, what a shot caller this guy is. But did you see that clip of him asking? And then Khabib tells him a little bit of stuff, and it worked.
Well, Khabib goes, pay attention. Derek right there. Like, Derek's right there. Turn around. Like, Derek's right there. Pay attention. Like, but that's another thing, right? That's another thing. And it's always difficult when we talk about these things on Monday. And I told this to Kevin on Monday. I go, you're going to have to hear a lot of things that you're not going to like, but ultimately let it motivate you. I don't understand the relationship that Kevin has with his coaches. Because at what point do they go, sit your butt down and focus? Like, at what point do they grab you by the back and say, Kevin, you got to sit down and focus? We are down 3-0. Like, focus.
Yeah, enough. Yeah.
Enough, right? Like, this whole thing's cool. After round 1, if I'm cornering Kevin Holland, I'm like, yo, man, chill. You have to fight and pay attention because this is not going good. And then after round 2, then it's really time to get your foot and put a boot up his butt and get him on track. Because I don't know when they said something to him about paying attention. Did they ever?
No, he was doing most of the talking in between rounds.
Exactly. So it's like, at what point does and again, man, I know he has this great relationship with these coaches. They've gotten him all the way here, but at some point, look, George St. Pierre, the great GSP, said it last week. You cannot be the captain of your own ship as an athlete. You got to have someone in that place that can put you in your place when it needs to be. And I think Kevin needs that. Kevin needs someone to, because I mean, man, after the first round, he's talking to Khabib and them, and I'm like, is somebody going to say anything? Like, nobody said nothing. They just let him go through the whole minute with no advice, no direction, no idea how to get it going back in the right way. And that went on round after round after round.
That's a really great point. The one thing that I did not agree with in the aftermath was Dana White spoke to Kevin Iole of Yahoo Sports, and he said his assessment was that Kevin Holland had, as he put it, quote unquote, a mental breakdown. He compared it to Oliver McCall and Lennox Lewis back in 1997. I don't know if you remember this fight.
I do.
McCall's crying,
kind of turning away from him, crying like they didn't want to fight anymore. Yeah.
This is the Kevin Holland we saw on Saturday is the same Kevin Holland that we were celebrating after Jacare.
No, I understand. But I think we'll see. There are times, and I see this with some of my athletes in wrestling, where they'll be wrestling on the championship side of the bracket. They'll lose to someone they're not supposed to. And then in the backside, they are world beaters. There are times where the spotlight does get to you. And I think Kevin just got into the game. Kevin has got this new superstardom. I think it did wear on him a little bit because that's why he was apologizing so like profusely after the fight to everybody. He's like apologizing to people that really don't matter. I don't matter. He doesn't need to apologize to me. Like, we don't have that good a relationship or that close a relationship where he should feel the need to apologize to me. Granted, I appreciate him, but you don't need to apologize to me. I'm a guy that just wants to help you. But it's like the pressure will do that to you at times. That's why you should applaud these guys that stay at the top for so long. Because, dude, that light is burning. That spotlight that you live under when you are at the top of the game, it is so hot and so high intensity that it's difficult. And I think Kevin's first time getting close to the fire may have been a little bit too much, and now he has to learn from the experience. I agree. I kind of agree, because I felt like if it didn't happen, Ariel, he would have somehow got back in to the game. He would have tuned back in. He just never tuned back in.
Okay, so I mean, we don't need to argue the semantics and the verbiage used, but I'm just saying I don't think that was a mental breakdown. Maybe it was a lack of focus. Maybe the pressure got to him. The pressure getting to someone and masking the anxiety with acting like, a bit of a showman, a clown.
That's exactly what it was.
Is right. One thing, but like Oliver McCall was crying in the ring. Like that was completely different.
Madness. I don't know. I remember as a young man watching that.
Oh, like, it was hard to watch.
Like, why? Oh. We're college kids, like laughing. Like, why are we laughing at this man going through all this? Like,
well, that's mean. Why would you laugh at him? He was having a breakdown.
Like, dude, we've never seen anything like that, right? You're with a whole bunch of friends drinking beer, and this is happening. Like, what is going on? Yes, Kevin didn't do that, but I think it's just a different. I know what Dana's trying to say is what I'm saying to you. Like, I don't know if that's the right word, but I know what he's trying to say. Because for me, I felt the same thing. If he was not, like, if his mind wasn't just like short circuiting, he would have tuned back in, is what I'm trying to say.
Another thing that was brought up in the aftermath, and I'm curious to get your take on this, is should he move down to 170? Is he too small for 185? He's so skinny though. Like, could he really cut 15 more pounds?
Well, he weighed in at 183, right? Yeah. So he only weighs, he's a couple pounds underweight, which is right. But he looks thin, especially when Derek would grab him. He looks real thin. But do you remember, he was gonna fight 170. He was gonna be a 170 pounder.
Yeah.
But then he found success at middleweight and stayed there. So, I mean, he's got to consider it. But I think this kid can be a real star, man. He's a real star. There are just parts of the game that you got to figure out. It's very clear that he needs to be in an area with a lot of great wrestlers. And the place with the great wrestlers is here up in San Jose.
And so is he leaving his team?
No.
Okay, he's just going to work with you guys.
This is just working on the off stuff, right? Because, dude, Travis Lutter has done a fantastic job with this young man. Like, he has gotten him to the point where where he is today. He's not leaving his team, but he just needs to supplement some of that wrestling stuff, right? And he lives in Texas. I'm from Louisiana. In the Deep South, there's not the greatest wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
You got to go find that wrestling. Get your hand. Get grabbed by Khabib. Get grabbed by Kyle Crutchmer. Get grabbed by Duran. Get grabbed by all these good wrestlers. Islam Makhachev. Like, just getting grabbed by all these wrestlers will teach you how to start defending. It's a different feel. Like, you have no idea. Like, people don't understand how difficult it is to defend a takedown. It's so hard, especially in a fight.
And so afterwards, Derek Brunson said, "Hey, Paulo Costa, let's fight." Holland's like, "Hey, Bilal Muhammad, let's fight." We'll see what happens with him. I think he does need to kind of take a step back and not just try to jump back on the horse. Love the fact that he's.
But that's another fight, right? You go fight Bilal Muhammad. Bilal's trying to take you down too. Right?
Yeah,
like,
no, of course.
You need time to develop that skill.
Some people,
a striker needs a striker next.
Yep. Some people might be thinking, "Hey, Paulo Costa, isn't he fighting April 17th?" In case you missed the news, Paulo Costa is not fighting April 17th. It's now Robert Whittaker against Kelvin Gastelum, which is actually, in my opinion, Gastelum.
Gastelum. Yes, Kelvin Gastelum. Don't get it right.
And that's April 17th. So now the stakes are higher for the Darren Till versus Marvin Vettori fight. And of course, April 17th, Robert Whittaker versus Kelvin Gastelum, the fight that we didn't get 2 years ago, because I don't think Brunson's getting the next title shot. Obviously, Kevin isn't getting the next title shot. So we'll see what happens on April 10th on ABC. That's the next big middleweight fight between Darren Till and Marvin Vettori. One other thing that I wanted to mention about the card, and by the way, great performances by Max Griffin, Adrian Yanez, your boy Tai Tuivasa with a great win as well. Grant Dawson with a tremendous win. Trevin Giles as well. Montel Jackson. Did want to mention a bit of a scary scene on Friday with Julia Stolyarenko on the scale. She steps on the scale. She faints. She gets back up. She makes the weight 135.5 and then faints again. Her fight was obviously canceled. Scary stuff. We've never seen, a serious injury. Obviously, we've never seen a death in the UFC as a result to weight cutting or any kind of injury whatsoever. But as someone who has been a part of the weight cutting scene for a very long time and has had his issues, when you see that, what do you think?
Gosh, man, it's hard to ask a wrestler stuff like that, right? Because for me, it's like I've seen passing out. Right. I've seen guys like I saw a guy come out of the world team trials one time because he was in the sauna working out and passed out and hit his head, had to withdraw. He's a world champion. Right. Mm-hmm. So I've seen people pass out, and I understand that when you're cutting weight, you're lightheaded. You're very lightheaded, right? Especially if you get up too fast. So there's a lot of different reasons as to why she could have passed out. Very scary situation, right decision to stop it. But man, I guess my reaction to it wasn't as severe as a lot of people, because I've seen a lot of weight cutting in my life, like a lot of weight cutting from freaking 12-year-old kids to 30-year-old men and women. Like, I've seen a lot of weight cutting, and you get lightheaded. I've had times where I've been cutting down to 205 and I've gotten up too quick and started to stagger backwards, but it just wasn't public, right? So then I would just sit down, gather myself, go finish making the weight, and then go fight. So listen, weight cutting is very scary. And I don't want to make it seem as though it's not a big deal, but I've seen a lot of weight cutting. I've seen some of your favorite fighters in the world go through some very severe weight cuts. And just because it's not public, you don't see it happening right before your eyes. So extreme weight cuts, man, are an issue. And you get lightheaded. It's literally, you just get lightheaded. Like, you get lightheaded and you're like, whoa, you fuzz out, and then you can put some cold water on your head. You can do something to kind of bring you back. And then once the fuzz kind of lifts, you don't get up as fast as you did last time. And I'm not trying to be like kind of I don't know if I'm inconsiderate or I know it was serious, but bro, I've seen a lot of weight. Remember in 1997, they had to add weight to wrestling because a couple guys died cutting weight in saunas. They banned saunas from us because a couple guys died because they were taking creatine, which stores what makes you retain water, and guys were trying to cut weight. And there's like a whole bunch of things, So I've seen such extreme weight cutting that I'm glad she's okay. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't make me a lot of people do.
Well, you've been there. We haven't. You just hope that the people in charge look at these situations and, like the gloves last week, continue to want to improve, evolve, and make sure that the athletes are as.
I got that
safe
from a
as possible.
nutritionist too. Like when it happened, somebody was like, "Wow, this reaction is crazy." He's like, "It's almost like nobody's ever passed out before." But again, this nutritionist has seen so many extreme weight cuts that it's almost that happens. You know, sucks.
All right. We wish her the best. We take a quick pause here and let you know that in a matter of seconds, we'll talk about the big Khabib Nurmagomedov announcement, but or quote unquote, I should say announcement, because he would say nothing was really announced. But anyway, let's give some love to DraftKings. We love DraftKings. And of course, UFC 260 coming up later on this weekend. And of course, we shall talk about that fight, which I know that you are invested in. It's Francis Ngannou versus Stipe Miocic. And of course, every punch, kick, and knockout means so much more with DraftKings. With a DraftKings lineup on the line, oh my gosh, the official daily fantasy partner of the UFC is now offering all players a shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. If you haven't tried it yet, fantasy MMA is very easy to play. Just pick 6 fighters, stay under the salary cap, and pile up points for advances, takedowns, and more. There's no better way to put your MMA knowledge to the test than to compete for a shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable, so you can deposit and withdraw your funds at your convenience. Download the DraftKings app right now, and please use the promo. Oh, this is interesting. Wow. For your birthday, please use the promo code Ariel. That's ARIEL to get a shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. Throughout the week. Again, that's code Ariel. Only at DraftKings. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details. So there we are on Thursday, DC. Big news. Who'd have thunk it? Midnight on a Thursday evening, we get the tweet. A great time to break news. Khabib Nurmagomedov, arguably the greatest of all time, has officially retired. Now, he would go on to say later on in the week, well, actually, I retired on October 24th. They were just trying to get me to unretire. But here he is officially sticking to his guns. And the important part of the information is the UFC is standing down. They are not going to convince him anymore, at least try to convince him. He is no longer the lightweight champion. The title is now vacant, and there will be a vacant title fight on May 15th between Michael Chandler and Charles Oliveira. So there's a lot to unpack here. But first, let me ask you, Khabib retiring, did you think that they would be successful in convincing him?
He never wavered. Like when I would ask him personally, he never wavered. So I didn't know. But, you know, when you saw the tweet where he met Lorenzo and it said, send me the location, I thought maybe that's when he was going to fight. I was like, oh, my goodness, he's going to fight. But I guess he was saying, Dana, tell me where to meet you for dinner so we can have this final conveation, I guess. I have no idea what it was.
Because everyone thought.
I thought it meant, okay, he's going to fight, you know, but with me personally, he never wavered. He always said, I'm good, man. He never said that he was coming back. But like I said prior, you got to try to convince him too, right? One of your biggest stars, just as when McGregor leaves, right? It seems like there's a void. It feels like that with Khabib walking away. So as a promoter, you have to pursue that. But now it seems as though UFC is going to move forward. And honestly, even if he decides in 3-4 years, you know what? I do want to fight. He'll be 35 years old, 36 years old, right? You can stick him right back in the championship picture if that's what he desires to do. But I just think Khabib is just so happy with his career, with his family, with everything that he's accomplished, that he's in a good place and he's okay with being done with fighting.
I want to be clear about this. I'm not ready to close the book on Khabib Nurmagomedov, the active MMA fighter. I 100% believe that he is done and that he was done on that night. And it would have been nice, I think, to leave him alone and let him ride off and that be sort of the end. I've been watching and covering combat sports enough to know that people do come back. You know, we didn't think GSP would come back. He did come back. But I think right now he is 1000% sincere. And I have so much respect for the fact that, let's be honest, they probably threw a boatload of money his way. They probably threw every scenario possible. They were open to everything. Why wouldn't you want Khabib? He is at his absolute highest in terms of his popularity right now. For him to be comfortable and content with walking away and now assuming this role as coach and just being happy back home, it's a real beautiful thing. Like I was trying to equate it to other athletes who walked away on top. You know, Barry Sanders walked away when he was young, but he wasn't a champion. Lennox Lewis walked away when he was champion, but he had been through so much. To me, and I know this might upset people, the closest I can think of, the closest scenario to this scenario, the closest, don't roll your eyes. Don't roll your eyes.
Michael Jordan. You're going to say Michael Jordan.
Is it not? Is it not Michael Jordan in 93, where you have a guy who it feels like he's a champion, but still has so much work? I'm not trying to call him the Michael Jordan of MMA, but this to me is the closest.
Well, you can.
Fair. But do you understand what I mean? In 93, when Jordan walked away for the first time, he had just won his third straight championship. MVP, was the man, was the face of the NBA. And he's like, I'm done. And also you can't ignore the father, comparison too. Their fathers died. So it's an unbelievable thing. And I have a lot of respect for him doing it this way.
Yeah. Man, Khabib is a guy that when he says something, good or bad, he generally stays in that lane. And that's one of the things that makes him so special, right? Is that he's a man of his word. He's a man of his faith means the world to him. His family means the world to him. And when he said he was retiring on that night and the reasons that he gave, it felt hard to believe that he would be convinced to come back. And I think it just shows once again, man, that when someone, especially a guy in his position, makes up his mind, nothing's going to change that. And I don't know if there's ever been a time where Dana's put that much pressure on someone and they've actually been able to stand firm. So all across the board though, man, everything was done. I like I said, I feel like the UFC did what they needed to do. And Khabib just once again proves that he is just of a different breed than anything we've ever seen before.
I couldn't help but notice Luke Rockhold talking to TMZ a couple of days ago, saying that Khabib said to him that he wants to coach Luke, and Luke saying to TMZ he's trying to go after that Coach of the Year award in honor of his dad. Who was the one? Tell me, who was the one that said,
that was you, Doug? That was you. Hey, listen though, Luke's going on. Hey, Luke's in Vegas now, working out with the boys, so it'll be the first time. But Khabib doesn't just coach, right? He actually trains full time still with the guys. So it's not like he's just sitting on the side coaching like me or Javier. He actually is in there rolling around, doing jiu-jitsu, sparring, doing everything with the guys. So that's the thing. Those are the things that are invaluable, having those experiences with the champion in that way.
It's an incredible legacy. It's an incredible run, 29-0. I mean, lost less than 5 rounds, according to the judges, in his entire UFC career. Just an amazing legacy. And, the Nurmagomedov train continues to roll along. We've got Abu Bakr Nurmagomedov competing this weekend at UFC 260. But of course, the big, the other side of this coin, the big part of the story is, okay, he walks away, they're standing down, and they've made this vacant title fight. And we were, debating what are they going to do with May 15th because all the divisions were tied up. Lo and behold, Masvidal and Usman get put on April 24th. And of course, we'll get to them later in the program. But they do Oliveira versus Chandler for the vacant title fight. And so I think we all agree, yes, you needed to make a vacant title fight. The division needs to roll along. But, Relax DC said it was going to be Chandler Gaethje. So what happened?
So here's the thing. They got it right. It should be Oliveira. That should
means
be
you
Oliveira.
got it wrong.
No, it should be Oliveira, right? I love the Chandler pick, and I love Michael Chandler. I still believe it should be Gaethje. I really do. No, I'm saying I was wrong on the fight pick. Chandler Gaethje made all the sense in the world. I think Oliveira, because remember, he was the guy that we thought was out on an island. I think Oliveira should be in the title fight. I believe that when it boils down to Chandler Gaethje, me personally, just based on Gaethje losing to Khabib in the last fight as the interim champion, I think he should have fought Oliveira for the belt. And I've said this from day one, right? That no matter who fights for the belt, Justin Gaethje needs to be a part of that fight. I've said that, and I still believe it. I mean, if we really want to do things completely right, there's no reason Dustin Poirier shouldn't just get the belt put on him right now.
Well, I was just going to ask you because
you know what I'm saying?
Like forgetting about Poirier. A lot of fans are mad. There are a lot of them are mad that he's not a part of the title fight.
But he's making a business decision to go and fight McGregor.
Right.
Right. Like, because again, at a point, a fight is more valuable than a title. Right. So it's like for Dustin Poirier, he makes more money. Dude, he makes more money to fight Conor McGregor than he probably makes to go and defend and win the belt. So
100%.
If you want to do all things right, I would have just put the belt on him. But if you're not, and he's going to fight Conor, and then somebody else is going to fight for the belt, I don't know how Justin Gaethje isn't a part of that fight after winning the interim championship and then losing to Khabib in Khabib's last fight. And this is not, let me be clear, this is not a knock on Michael Chandler in no way, shape, or form. Michael Chandler is an absolute stud. I just don't understand how Gaethje is not a part of this fight in some way, shape, or form.
And Gaethje himself tweeted that he woke up on that morning thinking that he was fighting Michael Chandler.
He did. So I was right, essentially.
You were right. By the way, I backed it too. According to my discussions with both sides, he thought now something happened, and I haven't quite been able to figure out what. But in the end, they went with Oliveira. By the way, I think the fight that probably would have appeased everyone, as far as like meritocracy and who deserves to be fighting for the belt next, if Khabib's not around, Oliveira Poirier. I think Oliveira Poirier. Yeah.
That's the one.
Right? That would be the one. Now, to your point, Poirier is going after Conor. Now, this whole thing, unfortunately, could blow up in his face because the Conor fight isn't done yet. Like, they originally wanted Conor Poirier 3 to be May 15th, but having trouble with negotiations, and it's a big time fight. So you expect these things to not be made very easily. But now you have 3 options for Conor. Now there's the other side of it, because you have Gaethje. Poirier, Gaethje, and there's Nate Diaz too.
Yeah, there's now Conor has options, but even for Dustin,
but he wants Poirier.
He wants Poirier.
He wants Poirier.
Even for Dustin, as the negotiations take longer to come to terms, it allows McGregor more time to work on that one area. Remember what I told you a few weeks ago? It seems very quick for him to change and be able to learn a defense to that outside leg kick in such a short period of time. But as the months pass, every day, Coach Kavanaugh and team, Owen Roddy, they're all working on different ways to try to counter what happened to him in the last fight. So if I'm advising Poirier, I'm like, man, let's get this thing going so I can get him before he starts to understand and learn how to counter what I had so much success with in the last fight.
I want the fans to know this. A lot of people are saying that the UFC screwed Dustin. The UFC didn't screw Dustin.
No,
here.
Dustin made a choice.
He made this choice. Now it
the right choice, though. Hey,
100%,
the right choice.
100%.
Dustin Poirier is making the right choice by going after the biggest fight, because he goes 100%. And beats McGregor again. Whoever the champion is, and this would suck if you're Justin Gaethje, right? Because now you're on the outside waiting for these two to become champion. The winner of that fight is going to fight Dustin Poirier or Conor McGregor, whoever wins the fight between those two. So it kind of puts Gaethje in a real tough situation.
Very tough, because he's the odd man out now. There's no obvious matchup for him.
It's so crazy, because remember we thought it was going to be Oliveira. Oliveira was on the outside.
Now, so like I said, he didn't get screwed. Poirier didn't get screwed. But where it's going to get really interesting now is now you have Gaethje on the sidelines who can be used as leverage to make the Poirier fight versus McGregor done. And there's also Diaz who's chomping at the bit.
But Diaz will never be used as leverage.
He will not.
That's the one thing that won't happen. Nathan Diaz will not be used as leverage.
Well done on Nathan. No, but here's the thing. At some point, if the Poirier fight doesn't get done and Conor doesn't want, I know this for a fact, doesn't want to replicate 2020 in the sense that he continues to get pushed to the end of the year, he wants to fight 3 times this year. At some point he might take, because Poirier's greatest ally right now is Conor. Conor's saying, I want this guy. So they almost have to try and figure this out. But at some point, if he's like, yo, I'm not waiting anymore, now you start to look at the other guys and you got a pretty good set of options there, like Nate Diaz and Justin Gaethje. Things are going to get really interesting. So they got the lightweight title fight done. Now I'm really curious to see what they do with Poirier, Gaethje, Conor, Diaz. It's a fun little situation to figure out at 155 pounds. All right, let's take another quick break. You know, DC, we're so popular, so many ads, so many people want to be a part of this program. So let's give some love to Manscaped now. Manscaped, as you know, DC, has the best men's grooming tools to get the job done. You got to listen up to this, fellas. Feel confident while you groom. It's very important. Get yourself the Manscaped Perfect Package 3.0. Inside, you'll find products like their Lawnmower 3.0, which has advanced skin-safe technology, so this trimmer reduces cuts. Everything you need to keep trimmed and smelling nice is in the Perfect Package 3.0. Get 20% off plus free shipping. Oh, this is nice. It's good that they did this. I'm happy that they showed you love for your birthday. Get 20% off plus free shipping with the code 20ARIEL. That's 20 ARIEL over at manscaped.com. Again, that's manscaped.com. And please use the promo code 20Ariel. All right, let's give this another shot. DC, you're a business owner. And if you're a business owner who's hiring, you probably face a lot of challenges when it comes to finding the right person for your role. That's why hiring can feel like trying to find a needle in a haystack. When you post on ZipRecruiter, their matching technology finds these qualified candidates for you and invites them to apply. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. It's no wonder over 2.3 million businesses have come to ZipRecruiter for their hiring needs. So while other companies give you too many options, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the proverbial haystack. How about that? And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free over at ZipRecruiter.com/MMA. Again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/MMA. Unfortunately, this time, no promo code. I'm sorry. But thank you very much to Manscaped and ZipRecruiter. One day we'll get it. All right. So there was a flurry of fight announcements, DC, because on the back end of the week, we had the Oliveira Chandler fight news, which, by the way, going back to H-Town, site of the blazing hot Houston Rockets. I mean, I don't know how they're going to open this.
Please stop.
The Toyota Center
on fire. I thought we were going to talk about this, dog.
Clutch City on fire, 20 straight.
One mission. I mean, all the hashtags.
One mission. 20 straight. I won't say 20 straight winning or losing. I'll just leave it at 20 straight so you can pretend.
But how's that even happen? Like, how's that? I mean, listen, we are now fully in the Cade Cunningham sweepstakes. And man,
he'll have a lot of time to prepare for the draft. So they're going to H-Town May 15th. They're going to Jacksonville almost exactly a year. You're confused by this. Did you not hear the news about Jacksonville?
No, I didn't. Wait.
What's this look you're giving me?
They're going to Houston?
You didn't hear this?
Houston? No.
Oliveira Chandler is in Houston, May 15th.
Wait, what?
Come on.
Come on, man. Wait a minute.
You didn't know that? Where have you been? Listen.
So I'll give now you a we're pass. Just traveling? So now we're just traveling?
You're free. You're free, baby.
Wait a minute. Wait, stop. So we're not going to the Apex anymore?
I'm sorry to say. Well, actually, this weekend, I hope you go to the Apex. This weekend, this could be the last pay-per-view at the Apex for a minute.
Really?
261, April 24th. Surely you heard about this. Jacksonville, 3 title fights.
I heard about Jacksonville. I didn't know Houston, though.
It was your birthday weekend. I'll give you a pass. You were very busy. NCAA tournament.
I check out. When I'm off, I check out. Like, I'm completely out of the game.
Well, breaking news, 4 days later. They're going to Houston on May 15th. But we talked about that. So let's talk about April 24th. They're going back to Jacksonville. This doesn't surprise me one bit. Once Florida said we're open for business, I knew they would try to go back to Jacksonville.
Fans in Houston?
Yes, fans. But they haven't.
Fans too?
Yes. They haven't announced if full capacity or not. But Dana has said in the past he's only going if full capacity. So we'll find out. It is at the Toyota Center. April 24th. Back to that. Masvidal Usman. Oh, what I was saying was they wanted to repay. Much like Dana said he was going to go to Tachi Palace when things open up in California. I think they wanted to repay Jacksonville because they opened up the arena back in May of last year. So they couldn't have just gone. And this is known. I love the Rose Namajunas-Zhang Weili fight is tremendous. Valentina Shevchenko versus Jessica Andrade is tremendous. But I think they felt like they needed to stack the deck in order to get a full capacity 15,000 fans at this arena. And so what do you think of the fact that they're going with Masvidal versus Usman? And a lot is made of the fact that Masvidal is getting a title shot after not fighting since the Usman fight. Oh, quote unquote full camp, but really it's not really a full camp. It's a month and a half away. So it's not like he's getting a full camp. Like, how do you feel about this? Because I see a lot of people upset that Masvidal got the nod and not someone like Colby or, another top welterweight contender.
I like it. I like it. We talked about this a few weeks ago. Right? It's clearly the biggest fight that can be made at welterweight in a sense that eyes. Is it the most competitive fight? The most competitive fight, I think, is Colby Covington every time versus Kamaru Usman. But Masvidal brings eyes. Masvidal's a star. He's a guy that people want to watch. And Usman is healthy. He's ready to compete. And he wants to try and right the wrong of the last fight. Granted, he won the fight 49-46 across the board, but it wasn't as appealing as he would have wanted it to be with the rivalry that accompanies this fight. So I think it's a great fight. I think I'm happy about the fight. I think it's going to draw eyes. They're both from Florida, so the fight's in Florida. It's a big deal, man. And you got to stop getting hung up in the this guy lost and this guy won, this guy lost. At times it just doesn't go like that. Like we talked about this last week with the Gustafson situation and other situations myself. Like, there's just a lot of different factors that play into title fights. And you can be sad about it. You can be okay about it. But there are times where it just works out in a certain way. Like, there's no other explanation as to why it works out that way. They look at the board and say, you know what? I'm taking Masvidal. That's the guy.
Well, first of all, the champ called him out. So you got to give the champ, the respect. If he's going to call out Masvidal and say, that's the guy I want, then, hey, listen to the champ. And by the way, it's the most lucrative of the fights that they can make. That's obviously not the only reason. But, he took the fight on a week's notice. He saved the day. I'm fine with rewarding him. By the way, you know what I love most about this? I love the fact that it's happening next month. Masvidal may not like it, but remember, the original plan was Ultimate Fighter, and then they'd fight late summer.
It was going to take long.
Oh,
you said that last week. So you like to say, relax, DC was wrong. Last week you're all, the fight's not happening until the fall.
That was the plan. Listen, that was the plan. Everyone was talking about it. No, well, plans can change.
Or did you know and you just weren't telling me?
No. I said what I knew, but plans changed. They called the audible because they decided to go to Jacksonville and they realized that they needed that big Florida main event in the the top of the bill. But here's the thing. I love this because it's good news for Colby. It's good news for Leon. It's good news for Wonderboy. It's good news for Chiesa. This division needs to keep rolling, right? And so now we'll have a little more movement, activity, clarity. And hey, props to Usman. He's going 2.5 months between title fights. This isn't the norm these days for UFC champions, right? So he fought in mid-February. He's fighting a little over 2 months later in April. So I like this very much. And what a great card. I mean, those 3 title fights are phenomenal. So everyone was like belly aching.
Multiple title fights, 3 title fights on multiple cards back to back. And they would have had 2 if not for Volkanovski. But I spoke to Usman on the morning the fight got announced. He was in Vegas about to train with all the guys. At the end of the day, I asked Ali, is Usman going back to Colorado? He goes, he's already there. So, like, the dude knew, but he understands, right back to Trevor Whitman, right back to getting back locked in and in tune to go and defend this belt against Jorge Masvidal. It's going to be great.
Getting scoops. Look at you getting scoops.
It's not a scoop. I was talking to him on the phone, just
that's the reporter in you. I like it. You're asking questions. You're trying to find things out. That's good. That's good.
Oh, okay.
Starting to rub off. No, I'm giving you props, dog.
You're helping me out, dog.
And then in addition to that, they make the Corey Sandhagen, TJ Dillashaw fight, the Cody Garbrandt, Rob Font fight. We could talk about those
all on the same card?
No. Sorry. That's in May.
Come on, man.
That's in May. We'll have time to talk about those fights, but Cody versus. Excuse me, not Cody. Well, the Cody fight is great, but the Corey fight, Sandhagen versus TJ Dillashaw, is just tremendous. Yeah, it's just tremendous. So for now, though, let's focus a little bit on UFC 260 because that is the next one. It's coming up this weekend. It's a fight that is, I'm sure, of great interest to you because you're the last guy to fight Stipe. You'll be calling it. By the way, what's it going to feel like to call a Stipe fight after going through all of that with him?
No, nothing. It'll feel just like normal. I've called Stipe's fights before. I went to Cleveland and interviewed Stipe. I know it was all prior to us fighting, but the reality is, man, as I look back on that and who Miocic is as a person and everything, it's not a big deal to me. No bad blood. Guy's a good dude, fantastic fighter, great father, great husband. And I'm excited to go watch him compete and see if he can hold off Francis. It's gonna be tremendous. I have honestly, no ill will towards Stipe Miocic. Hell, probably get a detail on Stipe. You won't get any there won't be any DC footage in there. I mean, I've seen enough of that this week. I mean, it's just constantly seeing footage of me getting beat all week as the guy gets ready to fight. But no ill will towards Stipe, man. It is what it is. The guy won the fight.
Happy to hear that. Not surprised. In fact, I spoke to Stipe late last week, and it's an interview that'll be coming out tomorrow. Sort of one of those fancy ones that we're doing in this digital era, like I did it with Connor and Izzy. So good to give the champ.
Your face look all shiny. Your face look all shiny on that one too.
Oh, I don't know what you mean about
sometimes you just put Vaseline all over your face when you go to interview people. Damn. Face look all shiny.
Like oily?
Yeah, he look oily. I'm like, what are you doing to your face? They think ESPN thinks you're too good looking. So then they start they start pixelating your face a little bit.
Okay. Wow. I didn't know that was a thing. Now I'm going to be even more self-conscious. No, the only reason I brought that up, by the way, thank you for making me feel bad, is I asked him about you and he echoed your sentiments saying no bad blood, father, legend. He'll shake your hand when he sees you. So it's nice to see that you guys, he tried to downplay the whole thing. I was like, Stipe, I mean, I'm no fool. There was bad blood at one point. Like you were mad.
Like I felt that way too, right? I was very frustrated when I lost the second fight and it took so long for the third fight to happen. That's just what it is, man. Whenever two guys want to fight and they want to be champion, that's is what it is. But I'm glad it was tied to him instead of somebody else.
So this time he's fighting Francis. Great to see that Francis is getting that title shot once and for all. Of course, we found out the bad news on Saturday. No Volkanovski Ortega. Volkanovski has COVID. It sucks when you're an Australian fighter because you have to go through the whole quarantine process again. So maybe we'll see it in the late spring, early summer. We hope if he makes a full recovery. We wish him the best. But yes.
Is he here? Is he in the U.S.?
He's in Las Vegas. Yeah, he's already in Las Vegas.
Why wouldn't he just stay here? He should just stay because if he goes back, right, didn't it take Dan Hooker like 6 weeks to get back into the country?
Well, Dan Hooker is New Zealand. He's Australia. So the rules are a little different.
Okay.
But yes, I mean, his teammate Brad Riddell was forced off the card this past weekend against Gregor Gillespie. So I think he's going to go home and then he's going to try to do it again later on this year. But this fight, this main event is so great. I remember the first fight in Boston. You were the co-main, you versus Volkan Ozdemir. That first round.
Co-headliner.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. Same thing, yeah. No, you're right. You're right. Fair enough, because sometimes co-main gets used a little bit too freely. Yeah. I gave the first round of Francis versus Stipe my round of the year award for 2018.
They went crazy.
Everyone thought I was crazy for saying, but DC, the tension, remember? Because Francis was coming off the Overeem knockout. Everyone thought that he was going to knock Stipe's head off into the third row. He weathers the storm and then wins the fight. And again, DC, I don't know if you saw this. Again, Stipe's the underdog, the betting underdog going into this fight. This is crazy to me.
That happens. Though. The public, they fall in love with the knockout, right? And it happens, right? Like, honestly, I was an underdog against Rumble twice, right? So it's like it just happens when a guy looks.
Even the second time,
I was the underdog against Rumble. So it's like when you get a guy like Stipe, right, who's kind of blue collar, right, and he doesn't just knock people out. You watch Francis, and Francis is like you're just waiting for the dynamite to explode, and once the dynamite explodes, it's over. He had Stipe hurt a couple times in that first round too. Stipe walked through some big shots to get takedowns. And I don't know if he can do that again this weekend. He has to be very careful taking some of the shots he took against Francis in the first fight because, man, that could put his lights out. Fascinating fight. I want to see what improvements Francis has made because now it's 3 years, right? 2018 January to 21 in March. 3 years for Francis to get better. Not much time spent in the octagon, right? So what happens to Francis Ngannou when the fight gets long? What happens if he can't put Miocic out of there? And Miocic is as tough and durable as they come. What happens to Francis? Does those memories of that fatigue that he felt back in Boston start to set in and start to re-show themselves? How does he combat that? And how does Stipe approach this big dude in a smaller octagon where he knows what's going to happen early? He knows that Ngannou is going to explode into him. How does he weather the storm again? There are a number of factors and storylines going into this fight, and I think it's crazy because if Francis Ngannou becomes the champion with his fighting style, we may see a heavyweight champion with star appeal in the UFC that we have not seen since, I mean, Who's the last heavyweight champ to just really, truly capture the imagination of the general public, the sports world? Have we ever had one?
Yeah, well, we've had greats. Obviously, Cain Velasquez.
We've had great ones. I'm saying, who's the next guy that Couture. I'm not talking about just being a great champion and known. I'm talking about Brock. Brock Lesnar was the last guy that truly just captured the imagination of the entire sports world, a guy that everybody just wanted to see.
Right.
With Francis in fighting style, if he can become the champ, everybody's going to tune in because he's so massive. He's not normal. People want their heavyweight champion to not be normal. And I'm not calling Stipe normal. He's a big guy, but he's not hulking, and he doesn't knock people out in 10 seconds. And he doesn't have clips of knocking Overeem's head to the moon. And, he just doesn't have those clips. So if this dude is on the cusp of something very big, but with all that, Ariel, comes pressure. How's he going to handle that pressure when Miocic is in his face? Because Miocic is a dog.
And to that point, talk about stakes. not only is he fighting for the heavyweight title, not only is Stipe fighting to defend the title, the winner gets John Jones in the highly anticipated heavyweight debut. I mean, like that, it's very rare where you have that guy who's one of the greatest of all times just waiting there for his heavyweight debut. I mean, there's so much at stake here for both guys. We're talking about life-changing money, life-changing fights. This is a massive fight taking place in the smaller cage, by the way, the Apex, as opposed to TD Garden 3 years ago. Who has improved more, in your opinion, over the past 3 years, Francis or Stipe?
I think Stipe's gotten better.
Interesting.
Stipe got better from our first fight. Actually, not from our first fight. From our second fight to the third fight, Stipe got better. He actually was better in there when we fought back in August, opposed to the second time. He just had different movements. He felt a little quicker. He still hit as hard. He just felt like he had gotten a lot better. And how do we gauge Francis's improvements?
Yeah.
When he lost to Stipe and then went right back to doing exactly what he was doing before. I don't train with him. I don't get to see him on a day-to-day basis. I can talk to Eric Nitzik, and Eric says he's gotten better. And the rest of his coaching staff, Dewey, said he's gotten better. But it's like, how do we gauge that when we don't see it? How long has he fought? 2 minutes since he got
crazy 4-5 win streak. He did have the loss to Derek Lewis that changed everything.
Well, he lost to Derek Lewis, but even in the Derek Lewis fight, right? He looked tentative, looked a little bit afraid, didn't fight well. But it's like, how do we gauge his improvements? We don't. But I can gauge Stipe's improvements from experience, right? From the first fight to the second fight, where first fight was a good first fight. I knocked him out. Second fight, I beat him up the whole time, and then he actually knocked me out. Third fight, he came back and won a decision. I never would have thought he could have won a decision. But because of his improvements, this dude's gotten better. He's gotten a lot better since in between those fights that we had.
And yet he's still the underdog. Slimmer Stipe as well, which I like.
I hope Stipe's a little bigger this weekend going into the Ngannou fight. He's going to need a little more weight.
What do you want?
I hope for Stipe Miocic, 240. If he's 230 light like he was against me, I think he got so small because of the hand speed. He needed to try to match the speed. With Ngannou, you need to be bigger, because if he's 230 trying to take down that big man over and over again, he's going to get tired. But listen, I have no horse in the race. I don't care who wins. But I do believe that Miocic is a dog, and I believe that Francis is standing at the doorstep of just global superstardom. And, man, it's so intriguing.
Francis versus John would be huge. Stipe versus John. I mean, you have the arguably greatest heavyweight champion of all time against the greatest light heavyweight champion of all time.
Could you imagine if Francis wins against Stipe and then Francis fights John Jones and wins? Like, what type of star this man would be? Like, it's crazy, man. It's crazy.
In addition to that, a potential do or die fight for Tyron Woodley against Vicente Luque. I mean, you can make a very strong case this could be it if he loses this fight, given the last few performances. Sean O'Malley returning after his loss not that long ago against the very tough Thomas Almeida. So a lot to like at UFC 260. Why'd you give me that face?
I thought he lost to Chito Vera.
No. I look, there was a comma there.
Okay.
He's fighting Thomas Almeida.
Thomas Almeida against Thomas Almeida. You said his last loss against Thomas Almeida. I was like,
no. After his last loss, comma, against Thomas Almeida.
Okay, against Thomas.
Yes.
Okay. I got it.
But yes, the main event. I mean, look, thanks in large part to you, we just didn't get a lot of heavyweight title fights over the last 3 years. So it's nice.
It wasn't my fault. Hey, when you got two old guys fighting, man, we can't be fighting each other too soon,
I'm nervous for Woodley. I hope, look, I won't lie.
Hey.
I like Tyron. I just hope he represents himself, right? Like that he doesn't walk away from this fight and say, I didn't pull the trigger like the last one.
I got to be honest with you, man. Like, I wasn't mad at Tyron in the Gilbert Burns fight. I thought he fought hard. I thought he never gave up on himself. I thought he got discouraged against Colby Covington. But who doesn't get discouraged against Colby Covington if you're not Kamaru Usman? We saw RDA get discouraged. We saw everybody get discouraged against Colby. What I hope is that Tyron finds a way, like you said, to fight well, because we've seen recently that champions are now getting
champions.
Former champions. JDS, Overeem. Like, we've seen some big name guys get released because they have bigger contracts.
Away. Yep.
And Woodley might be in that spot.
Yeah. So like I said, do or die for Tyron Woodley. Speaking of great wrestlers turned MMA fighters, I'll be honest. I'm not a big NCAA wrestling fan. You know this. I have a lot of respect and love for it because of you and so many others that came from D1, D2, D3 wrestling. I don't really watch March Madness. I think, or Madness. I think it's ludicrous, beyond ludicrous. I think it's the dumbest thing that I've ever seen that they do it at the same time as the first weekend of the NCAA basketball tournament. It is absolutely insane to me that they do it at the same time. Like, why not have your own set of days? Why would you go ahead? It's insane to me.
Wait a minute.
It gets me so mad.
Here? What are you doing here?
No,
are you insulting wrestling?
But what? No, what I want to say.
Wait a minute here. What are you doing here?
I want to get into it.
It started so good.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden you're like, it's insane.
It's insane. No, what I want to ask you is
what's happening here?
Who won this weekend that is going to be a future MMA star? I want you to tell me about who won this weekend that we need to know about.
In terms
AJ
of
Ferrari
in that tournament, AJ Ferrari, just the Oklahoma State Cowboy freshman will now have an opportunity to be a 5-time NCAA champion and has the personality, has the look, has the spirit, and he could be a good fighter. AJ Ferrari could definitely be. Gable Steveson, the heavyweight that is, I mean, did you see him win that championship and go and do that backflip? No, it was one of the Sports in the Top 10 moments, because that 265-pound man did a big, he defied gravity with his backflip. So I think Gable Steveson and AJ Ferrari are two guys that could be great MMA fighters. Can I add something real quick? While we're on it? Congratulations to the Iowa Hawkeyes on winning a national championship. But the biggest story coming out of the NCAA tournament was probably Stanford wrestling, right? Please. Stanford wrestling has been around for over 100 years. They are dropping the program. This is a program that has won Pac-12 championships, have produced national champs and All-Americans. Shane Griffith became a national champion last weekend. Ariel, wearing a black singlet.
Amazing.
His coaches are all in black because it's like they were going to a funeral. Their program's getting dropped. Their alumni, Ariel, and their boosters have raised over $12 million to self-fund the program. But for some reason, the university is not willing to budge. This is a travesty to sport. And for anyone that listens to this or have seen a great wrestler from the university, from Stanford University, please go and tweet Save Stanford Wrestling, because these young men at this proud university deserve an opportunity, from Shane Griffith to Real Woods to Jaden Abbas to all these great little athletes that deserve to get that high-level education and wrestle for the school that they chose. They deserve a chance. And, man, I am hoping that this thing gets reversed and this program gets saved, because in a black uniform, Ariel, the coaches are in all black. It looked like a funeral. And then there's this great photo of the assistant coach after Shane wins that national champion, only the second championship in the program's history. He goes to a dark corner in the arena to sit and kind of like release all the sadness. And guess who's back there already? One of the other coaches in all black with his hands in his head. He's just sitting there like, Ray Blake and Alex Tirapelli, these guys were just sitting there like, wow, if this is how it ends, the arena was yelling, bring back Stanford, bring back Stanford the whole time. It was inspiring, man. And I hope somehow this gets fixed. It's the closest school to where I live at, and they deserve to have a chance.
Well, thanks to people like you, I learned about this. I didn't know about it. I saw the tweets. So I hope, and I retweeted yours. I'm going to start my own campaign. I want DC to start calling the NCAA wrestling. I can't believe you work for ESPN. Why aren't you in St. Louis? You're like one of the most famous, collegiate athletes from wrestling turned pro athletes. And now, you host the fastest growing show. It's crazy that you're not there doing that. Shout out to that dude who won without ACLs. I don't know how he did that.
Spencer Lee, dog. He's a 3-time national champ. No ACL. Crazy.
That's crazy. That is crazy. So anyway, I hope that it all gets worked out for Stanford wrestling. And I like it. I'm just saying, it's crazy to me that it's the same weekend as the NCAA basketball tournament.
You're doing it again now.
It's ludicrous. It's ludicrous. Do it Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Do it when there's no games.
But honestly, the ratings for the wrestling tournament are bigger than they've ever been in the history of wrestling.
Just imagine how much bigger it could be if you have the likes of Ariel Helwani tweeting.
You're not watching. You're not watching the NCAA wrestling tournament, Aaron.
Why not?
Regardless, you're not going to watch, because I texted you on Thursday like, hey man, check out a couple of these matches.
I'm busy. I'm watching basketball. I'm sorry. I'm busy. All right. Anyway, congratulations to them. Congratulations to us, DC. Now time for the highly anticipated gift opening segment. Shall we do this? Now, again, this is courtesy of our friend Robert. I'm still not sure if it's Robert or Roberts.
It's
Roberts Pearson, the man who draws those great pictures for our show each and every week, who's a very important part of the team. Out of the kindness of his heart, did it. Now an official member of the team, if you know what I'm saying, sent us both a package and said, please don't open it until we're live on the show right now, opening in front of you. So I have mine open right here. You have yours open. We're going to do this, right?
All right, I'm opening my box right now.
I'm opening my, this is like, oh my God.
Our packaging here, boy.
Wow. This is nuts.
Got it?
Oh my God.
Oh!
What is this?
Oh!
What? This is crazy.
Go!
Look at this.
Go!
Wow. Yo,
What?
the ESPN broadcast tag team champions of the world.
You know what I'm saying, dog?
I'm putting this on right here. Look at this.
Hey, you know what I'm saying?
This is incredible.
The Harlem Heat has entered the building. Hey, put it over your shoulder.
No, this is how the cool people wear it. This is how the cool people wear it. Okay, I'm gonna listen. For all the people who said I wouldn't amount to anything, for all the people that said this show would never be nothing, for all the haters, you know who I'm talking about.
Ariel, if you look at it closely, look. It's the American flag. It's the Canadian flag on the front. Look on the sides. They got the DC and Helwani logos. Let's go.
This is nuts. Okay, now this is a shoot right here, DC. We have both not seen this. This is the first time we see it.
This thing. I had no idea what it was.
DC, would you say top 3 coolest gifts that anyone has ever given you?
This is actually one of the best gifts I've ever received.
And it's like a legit belt.
It's nice, dog.
Wait, there's more. There's a hat.
Oh, wait, there's more in the box.
There's actually more in. Oh my God, there's a ton more, DC. There's a ton more, Daniel. There's a ton more.
Oh my goodness, like Christmas Martin. Hold on.
We got his shirt, digital media, in a very familiar font here. I mean, there's this.
Please give me. Oh my goodness.
God, there's just a ton of stuff here.
Oh my goodness. Let's go.
Wow.
There's so much stuff.
T-shirts.
There's so much stuff. Oh my God. There's T-shirts. There's everything.
I mean, you got to say, I mean, Robert Pearson, an absolute, this is the coolest thing. And by the way, he has sent us a video, DC. He has sent us a video in honor of this great moment. So let's take a look at this video right now as we continue to marvel at this incredible gift.
DC, Ariel, it's your favorite graphics guy, Robert Pearson here, and I wanted to congratulate you on 1 year in the books, but I wanted to do something special, and I figure, hey, 1 year worth of shows, what better reason than that to crown you the first ever official, undefeated, and undisputed ESPN broadcast tag team champions of the world. Shout out to my guy Andrew over at Wildcat Championship Belts for making these beautiful puppies. And you fellas should have them by now, so I can't wait to see them around your waist. Congratulations on 1 year, and here's to many more.
Oh, man.
This guy, man.
And new ESPN broadcast tag team champions of the world, DC and Ariel Helwani.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the ESPN Tag Team Champion of the World.
Hey, bow your head and pay homage to the champs. I mean, come on.
Hey, Josh Thompson, what do you have over there?
Josh, where are your belts? I mean, come on. You come at the Kings.
Everyone said I would amount to nothing. Right here, this says it all right here. This is the coolest. DC, is this a greater moment than when you got the light heavyweight title for the first time?
It feels good because it's unexpected, right?
Yes.
It's nice, man. This is nice.
This man, by the way, let me just say something quickly about Roberts, aka Robert, aka Mr. Pearson. You saw next to him, I actually have the picture up on my wall over here. Long-time MMA Hour viewer, just a guy, and you meet cool people along the way doing this job, right? People write you, yeah, sure, you meet some creeps, but you meet way cooler people like him. And the fact that he would do this, go out of his way, by the way, the fact that he did that picture a year ago, I really think helped the show gain some personality. and the fans love it. But this is just an amazingly
Next
thoughtful
level.
gift. And this
Next
is,
level.
I mean, I don't know.
Honestly, like you said, Ariel, there are way better people in this game, man. So many fans and people that just support you and what you do in your career. We love you guys. And Roberts, you are the man, bro. Like, seriously, this is going in my trophy case.
I don't know if DC was more excited getting this or winning the heavyweight title when you beat Stipe.
I mean, this was crazy. Like, I can't believe it. I had no idea what it was.
I thought it was going to be like a nice little picture or something that he drew for us, right?
A drawing. I thought he would have given us the one with all the drawings, which would have been fantastic.
Yeah.
But this here, I mean, people want to come at the Kings. I mean, come at the Kings, dog.
By the way, Stephen A. Kellerman.
Hey,
I mean, Swagoo.
Stephen A.
You want some of this?
Swagoo. Hey, I'm gonna see Swagoo next month at the Louisiana Hall of Fame. I'm coming with this.
Yeah.
You know,
Jalen, Jacoby. Who else? Who are the other Jabrons?
Next time we're on Get Up. Next time we're on Get Up, we're bringing the titles.
Greeny. Who else?
Anybody
Who else?
Who wants it?
Jeremy Schaap.
Yeah. Ryan Clark. You want to? Hey, Ryan Clark's like talking about. You know what? If DC said it, it must be true. You know why? Because I'm the champ, RC. Because I'm the champ.
Lewis Riddick. I mean, who else? Who wants some of this? They can all get it. Each and every one of them. They could just line up.
What y'all belt said?
Yeah.
Oh man. Nice, boy. Robert Pearson crown me.
All right, we got to go, DC.
We do?
Yeah, we got to go. This is it.
Brag more. Like, is there any way to brag more? Just 30 seconds.
I'm just going to do the rest of the show for as long as this show exists, every single week, with this around my my shoulder, maybe around my neck.
We would like a pic. I want this drawn into my background. I want this into my background because I am the champ. We're the champs.
Mr. Pearson, you are the man. Everyone who has supported us, we appreciate you. Entire production team back there, we appreciate you as well. Let's do this for many more years to come. For now, though, we are out of time. Enjoy UFC 260. Safe travels to Las Vegas, DC. Thanks to everyone who continues to rate, download, subscribe, and review. Thanks to our sponsors as well. Back next week, same time and place. Till then, we say peace. Tag team champs signing off. We're out of here.
Wow.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.